It's Saturday. It's April 6th. I am inside the United States of America with a Federal Reserve note, an ONE, and an In God We Trust. There's Jackson and the White House. I'm sorry. This is Hamilton and the U.S. Treasury. There's Jackson and the White House. There's Franklin and Independence Hall. I'm in an area that uses this symbology at Queen's property. And I just left filing my taxes at H&R Block. Now, that's just a local tax prep that I can walk to at the moment, since my CPA no longer is in business or his phone's disconnected. I went to this tax prep service and I asked specifically if they could print the tax forms so I could use the US Postal Service, the federal service. And she said no. She said that they only do e-file. So now, because I want to keep the postal service open, they're doing e-file with some with the IRS, but I don't, and that's in the local Bayside area where I can walk to. Um, Same town or zip code where I'm no longer, like, I just saw somebody walk down the street wearing a US postal jacket, um, but I'm not seeing, and I saw a truck the other day, but they're sparse. They're not as abundant as they were. I don't know why. We have a post office and an annex in Bayside, so I don't know what's going on there, but it is of concern. We had an earthquake yesterday. I did not feel it. I did not experience it. I called out to Alexander. I got his response. I spoke to Daniel. I haven't spoke to Benjamin yet. And Lewis did not feel this earthquake either. At whatever. My mother, she felt the earthquake, and it was like an energy that she said that moved from the front to the back of the house. Um, so I'm not sure what that was about. Um, and the taxes, originally I filed single. I don't have money for this divorce certificate. Um, but, and something with the custody is confusing. And I don't have an attorney, which I need according to New York State. There's no advocacy I have. I don't know who I would even trust or ask for. And the last time it was like $40,000. It was extremely expensive. Um, so there's this. So they called me back, and Tiafrio filed his tax returns with me on it for some reason, which I didn't want him. I don't want to be on any paperwork with this guy, not at all. For my own personal reasons, I want nothing linking him and I together at all. Um, I had so the tax prep called me back and said that I had to refile um, as married filing separated. So I had to do that. I had to pay more, which was fine. I mean, that's a slight inconvenience charge. I mean, we're not talking big money here. I don't really care. But it was more the fact of, I do not want to be on paper. I don't want our socials tied together. I don't want, he does not represent anything that I stand for. We had a whole conversation this morning. Um, and like, I've heard him present himself in like an interview with who he thinks he is and where his footprints have taken him in life. Um, and then I've lived like part of the journey in business situations. I We are not alike. We do not agree, and I am at a different class level, and I am not all right with this arrangement or derangement or whatever the hell's going on. Um, we had a conversation this morning, and he was going through some dialogue that I've heard humans speak of before. And I should say, he experienced the earthquake yesterday. I did not. It's like we're on two separate planets. Um, so, or however that works, we're in two different dimensions, maybe perhaps. Like, I don't know the correct words at this point. Um, all I know is that the earth shook for him and did not for me. Um, so we had a conversation this morning. Um, I dropped we dropped Nucci off at Saturday school. I updated Alex on how it went because it is not like my other children. This one is I'm having wiring issues. And so, but it's based on the social demographics of the house. Everything's thrown off. And so I'm listening to Tia Frio 1975 or the Taurus 1975. And he is like a sounding board. And I listen very carefully, very akin and tuned to like his speech, like where he's so rancid and hateful. And I'm listening to his hate speech of the system, of whatever. And it's like this anarchy perspective I don't agree with. And it's like, and again, I say he's an insult to my intelligence. It's almost like he argues every argument backwards, like ass backwards. I don't know why. I'm not all right with it. I don't know how to circumvent it. I don't know how to thwart it. I don't know how to sound cancel him out completely. Um, so he's speaking to me about the church and about priestly things. I've heard dirty, nasty rumors. And then there's the family perspective when you calibrate out other things and how the words are relettered to spell different things based on whatever argument. Like it's almost like a alphabet equation where they real pattern the words in English in order to carry a tune, but it's like it doesn't work. And so he was giving me arguments on slavery and anti-slavery, and I'm like, are you a lord? I was like, are you on a surfboard? I was like, so why are you even speaking? I was like, why are you even rendering an opinion? And he was like totally taken aback. And I was like, it's persons like you and what you're saying when you don't know the totality of the entire weight of the argument and conversation. I was like, and I even asked him, I'm like, do you know Mosaic law? I just learned that that's a thing. He goes, no. He goes, what are you talking about? He goes, do you know how ridiculous you sound? And I was like, listen to me, you have a public school education. And he goes, no, I don't. He goes, I've got a higher education. And I'm like, all right, I know what you think that you have as far as education goes. I was like, but I'm not getting in this fight with you. I'm like, I can hear the arguments you're making, and I already know you're wrong, especially based on what's around us at this point, and knowing my son needs someone to fight correctly for him moving forward. I was like, we're done. I'm not arguing with you. I'm walking away. Um, so there's that. Again, he's the one. I hand him a magazine of real estate agents that have another script other than the 26 letter public standard education. And I'm like, what do you do with it? Like, go dial for dollars, like, go make some calls, like, go whatever you do in order to save and preserve. And it's just, um, it is like being in a three-legged race attached to the wrong person, like, which is why, like, it's toilet paper. I don't have a better word for it. It's not the institution of marriage, between he and I, or between me and, I mean, he's the blacksmith, and then I had the other crazy one from 76, and he was a meeting from Crazy Donkey. So again, I don't know whose grand schematic this is at God and IN and the WE. Um, but at ONE level, um, there's also TWO, and then there's an ELF and ELF. So there's some real serious stuff going on, and I don't know why I'm stuck in this area with this going on. I did hear on the radio that Janet Yellen and Xi Jinping are meeting um, to discuss some of this um, whatever and the whatever. I heard that on the radio today. Um, so that's interesting. Um, at letting the professionals handle whatever they do in the whatever. Uh, and I know somewhere in some community the TEO is really, really important. Um, but at ID and then EGO and then SUPERGEGO, I am not where I should be with, like, the legend of the wooden shoes. Um, Again, I wasn't. I don't know how I missed the beauty pageants and the high heels and the grooming for that Trump organization. I don't know why that wasn't even offered to me. Instead, I got wooden clogs. Um, and then I got, like, oh, I don't know how to answer it, like, two dead end relationships. Um, Nothing that I planned, nothing that I wanted, nothing that I chose. Um, my father took me today to Port Washington to go for a walk. Um, so he and I were exercising. So I'm dressed in my walk with dad clothes for, like, exercise. And then he says to me, he's like, let me take you to brunch. Let's just, dad and daughter, come on, we'll go by the water. It'll be nice. We'll go to Louie's. Him and Joe go there. So I was like, all right, yeah, I'll go. Never have I been there before. I walk in and it is like a yacht club almost. And I'm looking at myself and I'm just like, I mean, like, I get that this is where I'm at the moment. But of course, I know, having gone to the country club, having gone into these settings before, and knowing how there are eyes everywhere at every different level. And then I see some of the insignia on the caps of some of the tables that one specifically that we sat next to. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I look like such a piece of trash. I was like, this is so horrible. Um, but I am in such a horrible situation with not having access to anything like that I need to be part of in order to whatever and whatever. So I was totally thoroughly embarrassed, but I stuck myself in the corner, tried to hide so it was only from the waist up, which is not as bad as it could be, but it certainly was not as nice as some of the other women walking in with beautiful dresses and makeup and hair done and jewelry on. It is just like a slide down to like, so it's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station. Oh, and I ran into Mr. Sullivan. I told him that I broke my ankle. He said that in February he was walking in Bayside, and like a scooter came up and hit him from behind. Um, and he said that he got beat, and the man kept saying something about his dad, and so that was really confusing. And I'm like, so what happened? So he said that um he was in the hospital, something happened with the DA, but the guy got off, but it's not over. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I was really frightened for him because it sounded like a really frightening story. um like, why would this man just attack Mr. Sullivan on the street? So I don't know, so that happened.